Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. InfoWarsStore.com.
One of the things that's been paralyzing the Trump administration, of course, is the Russians hacked the election narrative, what I call the red herring Russian conspiracy theory that has been put out by the Democrats and by the establishment, both the press and the intelligence services. You have to understand, as we pointed out last week, there's been no evidence, there's no direct allegations, just innuendo. And this was underscored when Brennan testified before the House committee, and they asked him directly, Trey Gowdy asked him, what about the evidence? And he said, I don't do evidence. He says, well, I understand that. Clearly, you could give us something that is concrete here. And he kept waffling on that, going back and forth. But now we're starting to see one of the purposes that we've mentioned before, but is now starting to come out. And that is, one element of this is to cover up their criminal activities. We know that this is really to paralyze Trump. That's one of the purposes of it, hopefully to impeach him. Also, they want to intensify the Cold War that they restarted under Obama and Hillary Clinton. But a key part of this Russian conspiracy theory is to cover up the illegal actions that the Obama administration did that involved the NSA and the FBI. And this is not coming from anonymous sources. This is coming from the FISA Court itself in a recently released decision. But if we go back and we look at what Michael Hayden said a few years ago when he was speaking at a university, I think it's very interesting, and it provides, I think, a background for this. Remember, Michael Hayden was the director of the CIA, director of the NSA at one point in time, also director of national intelligence. He served under both Obama and Bush, or maybe more accurately, we could say that those two presidents served under him. But here's what he had to say about what he's interested in.
This is not about guilt. In fact, let me be really clear, okay? NSA doesn't just listen to bad people. NSA listens to interesting people.
Yeah. So isn't that funny? They listen to interesting people. Well, who do you think they would find interesting? Would it be maybe somebody that's a political opponent? Somebody that would like to restrict the powers of this dark surveillance state that is unaccountable to the people. Maybe somebody that would try to cut the military-industrial complex or their wars. Today we had some breaking information. This is Carter Page, his name has been bandied about quite a bit by the press, by the dark state, the deep state. He says this Russian investigation will unearth Obama administration's falsified FISA warrants against me. Now, this is coming after we reported last week, the FISA court coming out and saying that they did this stuff illegally without warrants. But then he's going beyond this and saying, no, they actually did get a warrant for him, but they falsified information to get it. Now, Carter Page, as Breitbart points out, is an American oil industry consultant. He was tangentially and briefly associated with the Trump campaign. He's calling out U.S. officials who have been behind highly damaging leaks about him to the news media, alleging that the leakers committed felonies. He wrote this in a letter to the House Select Committee on Intelligence. He charges the episode will expose the Obama administration's use of false evidence to obtain a FISA warrant to monitor his personal communications. And of course, this is what we're always concerned about. The fact that not only would they spy on us to know what we as a group are thinking so that they can modify their propaganda that they use against us, but that they would use it against the very political officials who could end this if they had the backbone and the guts, or if they weren't too compromised and blackmailed by what the National Intelligence Service is doing to them. Page maintained that when the falsified, quote, FISA warrants against me are eventually revealed, the extent of illegal false evidence will show that there was never any probable cause, but rather vindictive personal attacks used to justify the Clinton-Obama Comey regime's domestic political intelligence operation. Now, this points out that in the Washington Post cited on April 11th, law enforcement and other officials stating that as part of their investigation into alleged Russian collusion, the FBI obtained a secret FISA court order last summer to monitor his communications. They acknowledged that they were reporting on leaked information. They say these were anonymous people. They're not authorized to talk on the record. All the stuff that we have heard over and over again. He says that the FBI, the Post further reported, the FBI and Justice Department obtained the warrant targeting his communications after convincing a FISA court judge that there was probable cause to believe that he was acting as the agent of a foreign power, in this case, Russia. Now, Page himself, and this is very important, they point out Page has appealed for a public disclosure of the justification for what he refers to as an illegitimate FISA warrant. How about that? Wouldn't it be nice? We just had the FISA Court call out the Obama administration and said this is an egregious violation of the Fourth Amendment. Well, this is an egregious violation of the Sixth Amendment. This man has been tried in the court of public opinion by the politicized intelligence agencies and the Washington Post in violation of the Sixth Amendment. Remember, the Sixth Amendment says that you have a right to a public and speedy trial. You will be informed of the accusations and the cause of those accusations against you. You will be allowed to address them in public. You'll be able to call witnesses to give your side of the story. You'll have a defense counsel. None of that is given to the people who are being railroaded by our intelligence services, by the spies that we have hired to spy on foreign agents. They are now involved in open political intrigue in this country. These are the people who are experts, who are masters at character assassination and at overthrowing governments, and they are assassinating the character of the people who have been elected in our country, and they're trying to overthrow this government, overthrow this election. And of course, as we look at this and go back to what we saw last week that was put out by Circa, most people have not really paid attention to this other than Circa and the Drudge Report put out this information that the National Security Agency under Obama routinely violated American privacy protections while looking through overseas intercepts. And this was something that they confessed to 2 weeks before the election. Now we find out this week that the FBI is involved in this, and not only the NSA. We see in this latest report from Circa, they're saying the FBI has illegally shared raw intelligence about Americans with unauthorized third parties and violated other constitutional privacy protections. Now, they said that this was information that was lawfully collected. However, when we look at this, they're pointing out that these are people, they've said they found several instances in which the FBI acquired communications on the same day that the NSA determined through analysis of intercepted communications that the person was in the United States. Okay, they were supposedly gathering this on people who were abroad. Understand, if we look at Section 702, the first thing it says is this authority allows only targeting for foreign intelligence purposes of communications of foreign persons who are located abroad. Think about that. They're looking at Americans who are in America. They're not even abroad. And of course, they tried to extend this by saying, well, if somebody is talking about them, then we can start to listen to them. But then, even then, they're not supposed to unmask them. Remember, Susan Rice was caught unmasking these people. That's the violations here. This is the Patriot Act. This is not even the Constitution that they swore to uphold. This is the law. And of course, the Obama administration said that they were going to ease the rules. They had a minimization procedure. They said we're going to put in safeguards that are going to minimize the burden on civil rights caused by the intrusion of the federal government into citizens' lives. You're going to minimize the violations of the supreme law of the land. You're going to minimize the violations of our individual liberty in the name of giving us safety and security. Now they say that they're going to take a look at this, and this is going to be very important as they look for reauthorization of that part of the Patriot Act that has allowed them to do this. But let's hope that somebody in Congress will realize that even though these people who see one bombing after the other, they say, well, you need our protection against this. They always know who the bombers are. They fail to do anything about it. They fail to vet the people who are in this country. They fail to take them out of this country or imprison them. And then they tell us we need more violations of your individual liberty. That is where this is going. That is what needs to stop. So you need to wake up and share with your neighbors what is happening. This is a loaded gun to your head. This may sound like a lot of legal mumbo jumbo to a lot of you, but understand that the law is a tool. Like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. Like a gun, it can be used to defend life or it can be used to take life criminally. And I want to play for you what Michael Hayden said because this illustrates the true danger. Here's what he said about whether or not he needed the law.
Oh, your talk today about 215? 215 is such a safe haven. 215 is legislated by Congress. I was doing metadata collection under the President's raw Article 2 authorities from October 7th, 2001 forward. The 215 program doesn't begin with the Patriot Act. It begins with the private order I got from President Bush. And we decided it was lawful and consistent with the president's authorities as commander-in-chief.
They decided, not the law. That's the danger.
The reason Infowars Life has 5-star ratings on major third-party sites is because I want products I'm going to use for my family. I take this, my family takes this, and then it funds the operation with the most hardcore, truthful information you're going to find anywhere. So what you find in our news is the same thing you find in our products at InfowarsLife.com.
If I ever forget to take them, I have a noticeable difference. I don't feel good. The nascent iodine is one of the ones that was life-changing for me.
Yeah, I actually have just run out of my super female. I had a few bottles at my house, and I've been taking it again, hitting the gym once again. Very exciting, feeling great, looking good. So, and I know my hair is luxurious once again. So obviously the super female is amazing. I love it.
Nascent iodine is essential. Survival Shield X2. If there's one product that I would say is life-changing that I would suggest, it's Nascent iodine Survival Shield X2. It's got a 5-star rating.
It's a win-win. InfowarsLife.com.